Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered how ancient civilizations made sense of the vast, glowing band of light we call the Milky Way? Long before telescopes mapped our galaxy as a barred spiral of billions of stars, humanity relied on a tapestry of myths to explain the cosmos. Welcome back to the story behind the painting by Muzea. In today's episode, we are diving deep into a canvas that beautifully captures the intersection of cosmic myth, high Renaissance drama, and hidden esoteric mysteries. Painted around 1580 by the Venetian titan Jacopo Tintoretto, this 148 by 165 centimeters masterpiece now hangs in the National Gallery in London. But what looks like a pure depiction of classical mythology hides a dramatic secret. The canvas you see today is incomplete. A third of it was stolen by war and lost to time. Even more fascinatingly, its shifting symbols hide encoded horoscopes and alchemical secrets meant only for the eyes of emperors. Today we unwrap the celestial drama, the medical scandals, and the rebellious artistic genius behind the origin of the Milky Way.
Welcome to Story Behind the Painting, where we dive into the most famous art routes and learn a lot from that.
Let's step directly into the scene. Tintoretto drops us right into a whirlwind of divine motion dominated by a striking diagonal composition. Swooping down from the upper right is Jupiter, king of the gods. In his arms he holds a small infant, thrusting him toward a nude woman reclining on clouds. This woman is his long-suffering wife, Juno. The infant is Hercules, but he is not Juno's child. He was born from Jupiter's affair with the mortal Alcmene. Desperate to grant his mortal son the gift of divine immortality, Jupiter devised a risky deception. He snuck into his wife's celestial chambers to let the baby nurse from her breast while she slept. The painting captures the exact split-second climax of this myth. Woken by the sudden intrusion, a startled Juno leaps back in surprise. As she abruptly pulls away, her divine breast milk sprays across the universe. The droplets flying upward instantly crystallize into the stars that form the Milky Way. But how do we know these are the figures being portrayed? Tintoretto provides us with unmistakable iconographic keys, known in art history as attributes. The eagle. Next to Jupiter flies his grand eagle, a dual symbol of his power, clutching his traditional weapon, a thunderbolt. The peacocks. At Juno's feet recline a pair of elegant peacocks, her traditional chariot drivers, and a classic motif of the goddess of marriage. Floating around the bed are winged boys carrying coded symbols of Jupiter and Juno's notoriously troubled marriage. One Puto holds a heavy metal chain, symbolizing the binding, inescapable vows of matrimony. Another holds a net, the web of illusion, representing the traps and disguises Jupiter used to seduce his mortal lovers. A third holds a flaming torch and an arrow, the erotic symbols of inflamed, illicit passion. But notice something missing? Traditional versions of this myth state that while the milk spraying upward created the stars, the droplets that fell downward to the earth blossomed into pure white lilies. If you look closely at the painting today, milk sprays downward, but there is no ground, and there are no lilies. The painting we see today is actually a fragment, only about 2/3 of Tintoretto's original work. Sometime in history, the bottom third was cut away, likely due to physical damage or to force the canvas into a smaller display frame. We only know what the complete painting looked like thanks to a surviving 1620 preparatory sketch by the Flemish artist Jacob Hofnagel. His drawing reveals that the original composition featured a second female nude resting at the very bottom, Alcmene, Hercules' mortal mother. She is surrounded by a blooming garden of lilies, perfectly linking the cosmic and earthly realms. To understand why this bizarre erotic cosmic myth was painted, we must look at the man who paid for it. The painting was originally commissioned in Venice by a colorful and ambitious figure named Dr. Tommaso Rangone. Born into poverty as Tommaso Gianotti, he earned a medical degree and was later adopted into the noble Rangone family. Rangone was an eccentric charlatan who made immense wealth selling expensive elixirs and magic potions. He promised wealthy Venetians they could live to be 120 years old if they followed his medical advice. Rangone was obsessed with rewriting his destiny and achieving immortality. He adopted the myth of Hercules nursing from Juno as his personal emblem to symbolize adoption into nobility and the quest for eternal life. He commissioned Tintoretto to translate his personal ideology onto a grand canvas. Dr. Rangon died in 1577, around the time Tintoretto was finishing the work. The masterpiece left Venice and ended up with an even more eccentric patron, Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II, in Prague. Rudolph II preferred alchemical laboratories and astrological observatories to state politics. Under Rudolph, the painting acquired a darker, esoteric meaning. To the court alchemists, Juno's milk was read as lac virginis, the primordial fluid needed to forge the philosopher's stone. Rudolph's astrologers spotted a hidden cosmic secret in the canvas, a thunderbolt that resembles a crab. Rudolph II was born under the sign of Cancer on July 18, 1552, making the crab deeply personal. Flanking the scene, two putti represent Aquarius and Sagittarius, completing an astrological mirror of the emperor's horoscope. The mastermind behind this intricate swirling vortex of color and symbolism was Jacopo Robusti, universally known by his nickname Tintoretto, meaning the little dyer. The name nodded to his father's profession as a textile dyer in Venice. Tintoretto was an absolute rebel of the late Italian Renaissance. While his contemporary Titian painted with meticulous, smooth grace for high-paying kings, Tintoretto was a man of furious action. He was notorious for working at a breakneck speed, earning him the nickname Il Furioso. He would often sketch out massive, sweeping compositions directly onto the canvas without drawing guides, using a technique contemporaries called rapid and resolute. His artistic process was entirely unique for the 16th century. To master the extreme, gravity-defying perspective seen in the origin of the Milky Way, Tintoretto did not just guess. He built miniature, dark stage boxes out of cardboard. Inside, he arranged small, hand-sculpted wax figures, hanging them from strings to simulate flight. He then cut tiny holes into the boxes and placed candles at sharp angles to see exactly how dramatic highlights and deep shadows would fall across a flying body. This meticulous early theatrical staging is why his figures possess such a grounded, muscular reality, even when floating on clouds. Tintoretto's radical techniques did not just make him popular in Venice, they permanently altered the trajectory of Western art history. His contributions broke the rigid mathematical harmony of the High Renaissance and laid the foundations for Mannerism and the Baroque. He revolutionized the use of light as a narrative tool rather than as even illumination. Rather than illuminating scenes evenly, he pioneered extreme chiaroscuro, placing bright, glowing, divine light directly against pitch-black shadows. In The Origin of the Milky Way, the glowing pale skin of Juno bursts out from a deep ocean blue sky, forcing the viewer to feel the explosive shock of the celestial event. He also broke the rules of compositional perspective that had governed Renaissance art. Tintoretto popularized sharp, sweeping diagonal axes and heavily foreshortened figures that seemed to fly straight out of the canvas toward the viewer. This sense of cinematic theatrical motion directly anticipated the emotional intensity of the Baroque era. He proved that art did not have to be perfectly calm to be beautiful. It could be chaotic, breathless, and full of raw human energy. When we look at The Origin of the Milky Way today, we are looking at far more than a visual retelling of an ancient Roman myth. We are looking at a living, historical crossroad. It is a canvas that bridges the hyper-ambitious medical dreams of a Venetian charlatan. It bridges the secret occult practices of a lonely Holy Roman emperor. And it bridges the fiery, rule-breaking spirit of an artist who dared to paint with the speed of lightning. Tintoretto took a story of cosmic accident and turned it into an exploration of human emotion, divine power, and eternal life. Though a third of the canvas is lost to history, what remains continues to do exactly what Tintoretto intended over 400 years ago. It stops us dead in our tracks, forcing us to look up, feel the motion of the cosmos, and marvel at the stars. Every brushstroke has a secret, and every painting tells a story waiting to be uncovered. If you want to explore more hidden symbols, eccentric patrons, and radical artists right from the palm of your hand, download the Muzea app today. Available on iOS and Android, Muzea brings the world's greatest galleries directly to you with immersive audio guides, high-definition interactive deep dives, and daily art history insights. Uncover the secrets behind the canvas. Download the Muzea app now and never look at art the same way again. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments what masterpiece we should explore next. Until next time, keep exploring the story behind the painting.
Welcome to Story Behind the Painting, where we dive into the most famous art routes and learn a lot from that.